tackling tough topics to help you think reasonably about life's most important issues. This is Thinker Sensitive.
Hi, this is Sean Rainey with University Assembly and City Builders Podcast. We are so excited today to have Sophia Lauren from 7 Social here, marketing specialist, social media guru. Sophia, so great to have you here with us.
Thanks. Awesome to be here.
And this is your first podcast,
this is my
right?
first podcast ever.
Yeah, so incredible, man. Well, so marketing is your specialty, and man, we've interacted with you quite a bit. You've spoken at several of our events here and helped so many people in this neighborhood. Would you tell me a little bit about just how you've got into marketing and why?
Yeah, I just started as the social media person for every company I've ever worked for through high school and college. It just seemed like every business just needed somebody to take that role on. And that was me. I always just offered to do the social media for these business owners. And when I graduated from Purdue with business management degree, I was like, what the heck do I do? And I was searching for corporate jobs and everything, and none of it really clicked for me. So I was like, well, I know social media and I know there's a need for it. So I decided to just kind of go off on my own, do a little bit of freelance, and then start 7 Social and just keep working for small business owners, helping them navigate through social media.
So cool, man. And I know that you've helped so many people, even just some people that I know, and I love your work. So you talk about a lot of the, why do we use social media for business? And you talk about like these 3 main reasons, 3 big rocks, 3 things of like why we post. Share that with us today.
Yeah. So the thing I find with a lot of small business owners is that they want a lot out of social media for little to nothing, right? They don't want to pay for it. And that's fine because social media all these platforms are free, right? But what are we doing on these platforms? It's branding, number one. You want people to visit your social site and know what you're about right away. You want to make sure that you are portrayed in the eyes of people who are potential customers or current customers in the way that you want to be portrayed. So that's branding. So there's another circle that is lead generation, right? We want to stay in touch with people who are potential customers. And then there's sales, right? So after branding, after lead generation, you want to make your sale, whether it's a service or a product. That's the reason you're on there as a business. You want to promote what you do. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I know I've heard you talk about this, and man, this seems to be a real big buzzword. Like everybody will say things like, you just need to add value on social media. But I think sometimes that becomes a buzzword, but it's not really, really done. You've broke this down into several 7 different ways to add value on social media or really through your social media. Tell us about a few of those, kind of where you got that from and how to go about that.
Consumers, they want to learn, or they want to learn, they want something that's going to enhance their life in some way, right? And businesses should offer something that enhances people's life. Whether it's business to business or business to consumer, people want to get better typically or have nice things or whatever it may be. So just adding value first before asking for a sale is the best way to kind of build rapport. It's just the best way to make sure that you're not coming off as the salesman, right? You don't want to be known as the guy that, I don't want him to approach me because he's going to ask me for something.
That's right.
Or he's going to ask me to buy something. You don't want to be that guy with the trench coat full of watches.
Exactly.
You want to add value. You want to be the person or the company that people go to for whatever they're looking for, right? That's why you want to stay on social media so that you're top of mind. So when somebody's looking for a real estate agent, they go to Sean, right? They go to the person that they see the most often that's at the top of their head.
And so a lot of that has to do with trust, right? I mean, they don't feel like I'm some slick, sleazy sales guy. But at the end of the day, it is about sales. And so, but building that trust, you talked about passion and power and innovation. What are some ways that we can really build trust and add value so that, like you said, when someone's thinking, hey, I need this type of service, they're going to remember me. What's one of the best ways to build that kind of trust?
Yeah. So, well, trust it's one pillar that you can have for your brand. So I guess a great way to build trust is to make sure that you have reviews and you keep that good rapport with the people that you meet in person, that you interact with online. Don't act any different online that you do in person.
That's good.
You want to make sure that your brand is always on brand, right?
Yeah.
If you're the person that people trust, you want to make sure you're always the person that people trust. You don't want to vary from that at all. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, one of the words that you said in there, and I love what you talk about being brand centric. Brand centric. Yeah, we can have trust, and we're going to get those sales, and we're going to add value and all this. But there's oftentimes these posts that come out there, and you're like, who is this? Or what brand is this? And tell us a little bit about what brand centric means and how we can really implement that into our businesses.
Yeah. Well, being on brand, right? So there's this book that I read. It's called Fascinate by Sally Hogshead, and she's awesome. She kind of broke down the 7 pillars of branding. So one is innovation, there's passion, power, prestige, trust, mystique, and alert. So basically, if you're any one of these brands in the forefront, you want to make sure, like, say you are Fiji Water. That was one of my examples in my class earlier. Fiji Water is a prestige brand, right? They're the best water that you can get just because they say, we source this from, waterfalls in Fiji or what have you. This is the freshest water possible. Or you can go to your tap water, right? They would never show an ad pouring tap water into one of their Fiji bottles.
That's right.
That would ruin them. That's not on brand, right? That's not who they are.
Good.
So much like your own personality, where you wouldn't vary from like your morals or anything like that. You would feel off if you did that. You wouldn't do that with your brand. So if you're posting something on social media and you're like not really thinking too much about it, you're not sure what to post, always ask yourself, is this on brand for me? Does this resonate with the passion that I have in my brand? Does it resonate with, the trust? And if not, don't post it. Rethink your strategy, rethink why you're posting, what you're posting, and how somebody is going to perceive what you're posting.
I think it's a very wise practice that no one seems to put into practice is think before you post.
Yeah.
Like that is just simple. I mean, even in our personal post, our business post, just really, that's one lesson that you can take away is go, if I can just think about it, does this represent who I am as a person, who my business is? And if it doesn't, don't post it.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. You mention a lot and you talk about social media being a long game. What does that mean and how long is the long game?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, if you follow Gary Vee, he's always like, social media is a marathon.
Yeah.
If you're in business to be in business truly, it's a marathon. If you want to be known, if you want to stay relevant, you're going to be on social media. And you asked me how long that is, forever.
Yeah.
And social platforms might change here and there. With the amount of users, the amount of time spent per platform, but either way, it's always going to be there. It's always, this is like, mailers, I guess. Like mailers were always a thing. Now it's social media, but that lasts. People don't throw your social media away, right?
That's right.
It's always online. So make sure whatever you're doing, you're okay with it staying there for a long time.
That's good.
But always go with the flow, right? I mean, social media is going to change. It's always going to change. So just stay abreast of what's going on and, just keep at it because it's always going to be there. Don't expect to make one post and make 100 sales.
That's right.
That's kind of what I mean by the long run. Like you can run ads to make sales, but don't be posting every single day as the salesman.
That's right. That's good. You mentioned earlier about reviews and those kind of things. You gave a statistic that 84% of people trust reviews. And so how important is it really to build that? And if social media being a long game, like if I go to a business's website or their Facebook page and their last review is from 2 years ago, man, I'm probably going to wonder, like, what have they done lately?
Exactly.
And so how important is it to just stay on top of reviews, respond to reviews, cultivate reviews, get reviews, and like, what is your advice on that?
Reviews are super important. Yeah, that statistic for 84% of people, they trust reviews as much as they, trust a friend. And if you're walking along the street and you see some guy and he's like, hey, go to this restaurant, it's really good. Or, your brother calls you and is like, hey, man, I just went to this restaurant. It's insane. Awesome. You have to go. You might be a little weary of the guy on the street that told you it was good. But if your brother's telling you it's good, it's probably pretty good.
That's right.
I mean, as long as you like your brother,
Good relationship.
But yeah, so it's just that's what people trust. They trust reviews, and because they can scroll through and see kind of the history of your reviews and see, okay, you've been 4 to 5 stars for X amount of years. That makes me more inclined to trust you. That definitely ties in with trust. So. Make sure you're collecting reviews from your past customers any way that you can. I mean, offer. A lot of times you don't have to offer anything if you're just good at what you do. Right. But you can offer, 10% off if you write a review, whatever. You can give a little incentive or something. But that's another thing is collect emails so you can stay in contact with people.
That's great.
But yeah, reviews are huge for both service and products.
Awesome. And I'll tell you, my little side note or my little rule is if I read all the reviews and they all have the same last name as the company owner, I don't listen to those reviews. So make sure you're getting real reviews from real customers.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Last few things here. I want to wrap this up, but you talk about analytics and I've always heard what we track is what's going to grow. And if we don't look at those analytics, especially on social media, how do we know what post is working or this video or this picture or this statement or quotes? And so talk a little bit about analytics and even like over the long haul, what are we looking for specifically with that?
Well, for me and the companies that I work with, our KPIs, our key performance indicators, are typically engagement rate is a big one. So what we'll do is we'll collect, we'll look at the clicks, likes, comments, shares, add that number up, and put it versus the reach. So Facebook will tell you what each post, what their reach was, and then you can calculate the engagement rate that way. Instagram doesn't tell you they don't give you as many insights, so they don't tell you per post what your reach is, but you can still go and see the most liked post, the most comments, and kind of gauge from there what the engagement rate would have been. Because things are new as well, Facebook just launched their insights for stories. So that's awesome too. That's another thing to look into is if you're doing stories on Instagram or Facebook, you can check it out on there and see and track which stories are doing the best. I think taking a look at the likes too. So if you're doing, like today we talked about our 2019 social strategy, look at your 2018 performance to see what you need to be doing for 2019, right? Did videos get the most? Did posts get the most? Did links get the most clicks? Just keep track of all of that year after year, quarter after quarter. Bigger companies even do weekly reports that I do for them. So look at your reach, look at your engagement, and you'll pretty much have a good idea of what the best posts are.
That's awesome. So, if we're kind of into 2019, it's only January right now. Maybe there's somebody out there listening that's just starting out a company. They're finally launching out on their dreams. As they're just beginning, what would be one piece of advice that you would just say to that new entrepreneur, that new business owner stepping out, this leap of faith in their new business? What would be that piece of advice for marketing for social media from you today?
Yeah, I would say don't overwhelm yourself because there's a lot that can be done, but you don't have to do all of it. So definitely be on Facebook and Instagram. Post regularly or as much as you can, but don't overwhelm yourself with, I need to be doing videos every day, stories every day, posts every day, differentiated, whatever. Start small, right? What is your brand? What are you doing on social media? What do you want to do and accomplish with this platform that you're given, right? Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't be like, oh, I posted a post and nobody liked it.
Yeah.
Fine, keep it up.
That's right.
Just keep it there because people will eventually see it. And as your followers grow, they'll go back to, they'll scroll down and see what you're about. And everyone started somewhere. So
that's good.
Yeah, don't worry yourself too much.
Great advice. Sophia, thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for all of your input. How can people find you? I know that you offer some consultations and different ways. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, the best way is just probably my Facebook page. So it is 7 Social on Facebook. And you can just message me through there or take a look at my stuff, whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of great content. Sophia, thanks for being a part of today. Guys, thanks for listening in today to our City Builders podcast. For more information, you can go to our website and check out more podcasts as we just continue to interview movers and shakers and innovators in our community here in the Fillmore neighborhood.
For more thinker-sensitive content, visit thinkersensitive.com.